My sister-in-law told her kids to call me by my first name, not Aunt, because she's not really family. I bit my tongue for months. Then one day at a school play, her daughter ran to me first with flowers. I hugged her tight and whispered, "Family is the one who shows up." Her mother watched in silence, while I sat front row with the seat she couldn't claim. I live in Westerville, Ohio, just outside Columbus. It's one of those places where people wave to each other from their porches and act like we're all part of the same extended family. But I've learned that not everyone who smiles at you sees you as family. My name's Jess. I've been married to Luke for 11 years. We met working at a mechanic's garage back when I was still trying to pay off student loans. I liked him because he didn't talk down to me. He's the quiet, reliable type. A good man. We don't have kids, not because we didn't want them, but because it just didn't happen for us. We tried. Doctors, schedules, heartbreak, all of it. But life had other plans. Luke's sister Rachel is a different story. From the moment I met her, she acted like she was royalty, and I was a waitress who'd spilled soup on her. She's the kind of woman who makes every room about her. She always talks louder, dresses flashier, and acts like she's in charge of everything, including people's feelings. Rachel married Don, who's basically her emotional doormat. He doesn't say much unless she tells him to. They have 3 kids, 2 boys and the youngest, Ava, who's 9 now. Ava's sweet. She always reminded me of myself at that age, big eyes, curious about everything, and just dying for someone to really listen to her. At first, I tried to be friendly with Rachel. I thought maybe we could bond over family dinners or birthday parties. I brought wine to gatherings, helped clean up when no one else would. But Rachel never warmed up to me. She'd smile with her lips, not her eyes. The first real slap came about 2 years ago. We were at a cookout in their backyard. Kids were running around, music was playing. I was in the kitchen slicing watermelon. That's when I heard Rachel outside, not knowing the window was open. One of her boys asked, "How come we don't call her Aunt Jess?" Rachel said, plain as day, "Because she's not really family. She just married in." It felt like a punch in the gut. I didn't storm out. I didn't cry. I just stood there with a knife in my hand, the juice from the melon dripping down, and thought, so that's how she sees me. I told myself to let it go. I didn't want to cause drama, especially not in front of the kids. But after that, I noticed she started making it more obvious. Whenever the kids accidentally called me Aunt Jess, she'd correct them. "No, honey, just call her Jess. Aunt is for real family." She'd say it with this fake sweet voice like it was no big deal, like I wasn't being pushed aside on purpose. The kids always looked confused. Ava especially. She'd look down at the floor, like she was embarrassed for me. That's the part that stung the most. But I kept showing up. I kept loving them. I was there when Ava had the stomach flu and Rachel didn't want to leave work. I drove across town to pick her up from school, cleaned her up when she got sick in the back seat, and tucked her in on the couch with cartoons while I made her soup. I never asked for anything in return. Not a thank you. Not even the title of aunt. I just wanted to be part of their lives. Rachel started getting bolder. She'd make jokes at family dinners like, "Jess wouldn't know about that. She's not a mom." Or, "You know how it is raising kids, right?" Oh wait. I stayed quiet. Luke noticed, but he's never been good with conflict. He told me he'd talk to her, but I don't think he ever really did. Then came the school play. Ava was cast as Grace in Annie Jr., a big deal for her. She was so excited she called me the night she got the part. I could hear the joy in her voice. She wanted to rehearse lines with me over the phone. She even asked me if I'd help her practice her curtsy. I said yes every time. For weeks, I stayed up late after my shifts, FaceTiming her while she read her script. I helped her remember lines, coached her on when to pause, even helped her pick a pair of sparkly shoes to wear for her costume. Rachel never joined those calls. She was too busy. Then came the announcement. Only 2 tickets per student due to limited seating. Rachel messaged the family group chat, the one I was actually in for once, and said, "Dawn and I will go. Everyone else can just watch the video when it's posted." Luke told her I should get one of the tickets since I helped so much, but Rachel said, "That's not how it works. She's not even family." That hit harder than I expected. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just stared at the text and thought, this is the last time she pushes me down without a response. The night of the play, I left work early. Luke was out of town on a job in Pittsburgh. I had no plan to sneak in. I just bought a bouquet of Ava's favorite yellow daisies and figured I'd leave them backstage with the drama teacher. When I walked into the school gym-turned-theater, one of the teachers I knew from volunteering smiled and said, "You're Ava's aunt, right?" We had 2 no-shows in the front row. Want a seat? I hesitated. Then I saw it. Seat A2. Right in front of the stage. Reserved was printed in Sharpie on a piece of paper, taped to the backrest. I said yes. The play started. Ava walked on stage, dressed in her little navy blue suit and patent leather shoes. She looked so grown up. She scanned the crowd. Her eyes locked on mine. And she smiled. A real smile. Not nervous. Not searching for her mom. She saw me. She knew I showed up. At the end of the show, the kids ran down the aisles to greet their families. Ava sprinted past the crowd, flowers in hand, and ran straight into my arms. "I hoped you'd come," she whispered. I hugged her, kissed the top of her head, and whispered back, "Family is the one who shows up." And then I saw Rachel. She was standing in the back. She had no seat. She'd arrived late, probably assumed she'd walk in and take what she thought belonged to her. But I was already there. I didn't smile. I didn't wave. I just sat with Ava in my lap, her arms wrapped around me, while Rachel stood in silence. And that was just the beginning. That night, Rachel didn't say a word to me. Not after the play. Not in the parking lot. Not even a text. She pulled Ava away with a tight smile and a stiff "thanks for coming," like I was a distant neighbor who showed up uninvited. But Ava kept turning around to wave at me. She held the flowers close to her chest the whole way out. I drove home shaking. Not from anger. From the rush of it all. From the moment I knew I'd finally taken something back. But I also knew Rachel wouldn't let that go. She didn't. The next week, Luke told me Rachel was furious. That she said I stole her moment with Ava. That she blamed me for making her look bad in front of the other parents. "She said you embarrassed her," he muttered, pouring coffee like it was just whether we were talking about. I looked up from the table. "Did you tell her the truth? That she didn't even get there on time? That I was offered a seat?" He shrugged. "You know how she is." That's when it hit me. He wasn't going to defend me. Not really. Not in the way I needed. He'd always said, "Pick your battles," and for years I listened. But this wasn't a battle anymore. This was war. Silent, sharp, and personal. Things shifted after that night. Ava started calling me more. She sent me drawings through the mail, started signing them from "Ava, your niece." She started asking to come over on weekends, which Rachel never allowed before. And Rachel hated it. She started freezing me out harder than ever. Family dinners became tense. She'd leave me out of group photos. One time, she even posted on Facebook about a beautiful family moment and cropped me out of the picture. But she couldn't stop Ava from reaching out. What she did do was petty, childish, vindictive. She told the school that I wasn't on the approved pickup list anymore, even though I'd picked Ava up multiple times in emergencies. She told Dawn to be careful around me, like I was some kind of manipulator. And she even started telling people in the family that I was trying to take Ava away from her. That's when I decided I wasn't going to be passive anymore. I wasn't going to play nice while she erased me in slow motion. So I started showing receipts. At the next family get-together, Ava handed me a card she'd made at school. It said, "Thank you for always being there. You're more like a mom to me than anyone." Rachel saw it. She snatched the card out of Ava's hand and read it out loud. Her voice was shaking. "What is this?" she hissed. Ava froze. Everyone else went silent. I stood up, took the card back gently, and said, "It's a thank you. From someone who knows what love looks like." Rachel's eyes burned holes in me. You're poisoning my daughter against me. No, I said, keeping my voice calm. You did that yourself. She stormed out, dragging Ava behind her. Luke followed her out like he always does. I sat back down. Don didn't say a word. But 2 days later, he called me. And what he said changed everything. When Don called, I thought maybe he was going to yell. Or ask me to back off. But his voice wasn't angry. It was tired. Jess, he said, I don't know what the hell's going on anymore. I stayed quiet. I know Rachel's been off. And I know she's said some messed up things. But this thing with Ava? It's not new. She's been pulling away from her mom for a while now. I didn't know what to say. She talks about you a lot, he continued. She says she feels safe with you. Says you actually listen. I just show up, I said. That's all. Yeah, he replied. You do. And Rachel doesn't. Not the way she should. Then he dropped the real twist. I'm filing for separation. I sat straight up. What? She doesn't know yet. I'm meeting with a lawyer next week. I can't keep pretending everything's fine while she makes our daughter feel like a burden. And the way she treats you? It's not just disrespectful, it's poison. I didn't even know how to respond. I wanted you to know, he said, because I'm gonna ask the court to let Ava spend weekends with me. And I'd like it if you'd still be around during those weekends. If you're okay with that. It felt like a door finally opened. I told him yes. The separation was quiet at first. Rachel spun the story like Dawn had a midlife crisis and was abandoning the family. But people weren't buying it. Not when Ava started telling the truth. Not when teachers at school quietly backed up Dawn's story that Rachel never showed up to parent-teacher meetings, never helped with school plays, never even signed permission slips on time. Rachel was unraveling, and she knew it. Then came the bombshell. Rachel posted a rant on Facebook. Public. Long ugly. She called me the manipulative woman who stole her daughter's affection. Claimed I'd been scheming behind her back. She tagged people. Tagged my workplace. And for the first time, I fought back. I didn't go on Facebook. I went to court. I showed Ava's drawings. The letters. Texts. The times I picked her up when Rachel forgot. The photos. The card that said I was more like a mom. I wasn't trying to take Ava. I was proving that I wasn't the monster Rachel claimed. The court didn't grant me custody, of course not. But they did grant Dawn joint custody, including weekends and school holidays. And they ordered Rachel to undergo parental counseling. Rachel didn't show up to the first 2 sessions. Dawn documented everything. And Ava? She started calling me Aunt Jess again. In public. In front of Rachel. Without fear. Rachel couldn't stop it. Couldn't undo what years of absence had done. And then something happened that no one expected. Rachel lost custody altogether. Temporarily. She missed 1 too many counseling sessions and refused to cooperate with court-ordered therapy. The judge gave Dawn full temporary custody for 90 days. Ava came to live with Dawn full-time. And with Dawn working long shifts and trying to adjust, I stepped up. Every school drop-off. Every homework session. Every dinner. I became the one who showed up, again and again. And Rachel? She started sending threats. Nasty voicemails. Accusations. But this time, I recorded everything. Every word. Because now I wasn't just defending myself. I was protecting Ava. And Rachel still had one last thing to lose. The voicemails were ugly. Rachel said I was stealing her life. She threatened to make sure everyone knew what kind of woman I was. She even said, "You think you're a better mother than me? You're not even a mother." That one hit deep. Because she was right, in a way. I wasn't Ava's mother. I wasn't even family, not by her definition. But I loved Ava like blood. And Ava loved me back. I brought the recordings to Don and his lawyer. They added them to the growing stack of evidence. Missed therapy. Ignored court dates. Public rants. Harassment. A judge was going to see it all. But then Rachel crossed a line that flipped everything. One Friday afternoon, I got a call from Ava's school. They said Rachel had shown up without warning, claiming she had emergency permission to take Ava home. The front desk said she was frantic, insistent. She even yelled at a staff member. But the school followed protocol. They called Dawn. Then they called me. By the time Dawn got there, Rachel was in the office, screaming that we were trying to take her daughter away. Ava was crying in the hallway. That incident was the nail in the coffin. The court issued a restraining order against Rachel, at least until she could prove she was stable. She was barred from contacting Ava directly, from entering school grounds, and from sending messages to me or Dawn. Rachel's world cracked wide open. She tried to spin it again, claimed we'd conspired, manipulated the system. But people had stopped listening. Even Dawn's family, who once played neutral, started quietly thanking me. A few of them apologized for not noticing sooner. And Ava? She started to smile again. She danced in the living room without looking over her shoulder. She asked to paint her room at Dawn's house. She called me Aunt Jess like it had always been that way. Then one night, I was tucking her in, and she looked at me and asked, "Do you think my mom will ever love me, right?" I didn't lie. I said, "I think your mom loves you, but she doesn't know how to show it the right way. That's not your fault." She nodded slowly. Then she said, "You show up. That's enough for me." I kissed her forehead and stepped out of the room, tears blurring my vision. Rachel didn't disappear. She moved an hour away, tried to start over. Sometimes I still hear things. Posts she makes, rumors she spreads, but they don't matter anymore. She burned her bridge, then doused it in gasoline and lit it with her own hand. And me? I made my peace with it. I showed up, even when it hurt, even when it wasn't fair. I don't call myself Ava's mom, but I'm something real to her. And that's more than Rachel ever let me be. As for Luke, well, this war opened up things we couldn't ignore. He admitted he never stood up for me when it mattered. He let Rachel treat me like I was second class for over a decade. And in the quiet months that followed, we both realized something. We weren't really a team anymore. We split last fall. Amicably. He moved to Nashville for work. We don't talk much. Funny how you can fight so hard for a place in a family, and then realize you never should have had to fight in the first place. Now, it's just me and Ava on weekends. And sometimes Dawn joins us for dinner. It's calm. It's real. And it's enough. Rachel once said I wasn't really family. But the truth is, you don't need a bloodline to belong. You just need to show up.